Welcome back everyone to another episode of Vegetarian Cooking with JJ. In this week's episode, we're going to be making very delicious spiced roasted squash bao buns with a very interesting red pear kimchi. It's going to be an interesting flavor combination, much like a lot of Korean cuisine. You have that spicy, you have that salty, you have that sour, you have a little bit of sweetness there. So nice flavor combination and nutritious and delicious. And plus, it's so easy, anyone can make it. And this will be done in no time. So let's head over to our kitchen and get cooking. Here are the delicious spice roasted squash bao buns we're going to be making today. I'm preheating the oven to 450. Now I'm just getting the Delicata Squash ready. Taking off the peel. And slicing it up. I'm just brushing some oil on our parchment-lined baking sheet and brushing some oil on top of our squash. And here's our Korean spice mixture. I'll sprinkle our spice blend on and move the squash around in the oil so it's evenly coated. Give it a nice grind of black pepper and some salt. And we'll put this in the oven for about 22 minutes. We'll flip it halfway. Now I'm just getting the red pear prepped. I'm gonna dice it up. And I'm just chopping up the kimchi into more bite-sized pieces. Now to get our sauce ready, we'll start with our soy sauce. We'll add about 2 tablespoons. And for our toasted sesame oil, we'll add a teaspoon. Now rice vinegar is recommended, or you can use apple cider vinegar. I'm gonna add about a teaspoon. And a teaspoon of maple syrup. Now kala namak, our black salt. Give it a grind into the grinder. Take off the lid. And we just need a sprinkle. Now our black and white sesame seeds, we're gonna mix those into our sauce. Give it a stir. And I'm gonna add some chilies. These are optional as we already have some spice incorporated into the dish so far. Give it a nice stir and sprinkle in some garlic powder. Kimchi is a traditional Korean dish. It originated over 3,000 years ago, and it originally got started as a way to preserve all the food over the winter time, since many people would unfortunately die of starvation. Kimchi is such a staple in the Korean diet that they even sent the kimchi up into space with the first astronaut from South Korea back in 2008. Also happened to be a woman. Some kimchi has fish, so just watch out for that, but it's quite easy to find vegan kimchi. It is an excellent probiotic since it's fermented, not pickled. There is a difference. It's good for your gut health. Traditionally, it was fermented in pits in the ground so that they can control the rate of the bacterial growth. Probiotics such as kimchi have been known to improve heart health, lower cholesterol, has a good source of antioxidants, and usually beta-carotene as well. There's something called the enteric nervous system in the gut, It kind of acts like a second brain, but it does communicate with the brain. It can act independently of the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. Because of this, fermented delight is so nourishing in the gut. It is good for the gut-brain connection. In a sense, it's a brain booster as well. Sometime in November of 2020, China was making claims that kimchi had originated in China. Well, they have their own pickled recipes. It's not quite the same as kimchi. It's a completely different flavor. The popular Chinese pickle is called pao chai. Similar but different. Why did this conflict come up in 2020? Well, this Swiss organization, which is not part of the government, but it also includes members from over 165 different countries. They regulate the products involved in trade, and they have certain certifications, including certifications for food. So one of the standards they implemented was for pao chai, but they said that kimchi was fine. They tried to make claims that kimchi was from China, when in fact they just had their own kind of version of it, which is not exactly the same. This organization is the International Organization for Standardization, and they not only deal with food, but they deal with many other types of products involved in the world trade. Whilst companies can go ahead without the stamp of approval, it just looks good. And you know there's a certain bar to meet with in terms of quality. As for the bao buns, they did originate in China, Fujian, China, and then they became spread about throughout different Asian countries and popularized until they got introduced into North America, and now everybody knows about bao buns. Well, almost everyone. Here I'm just scooping out the seeds. I did a comparison and I found it much easier to scoop out the seeds when the squash is cooked in comparison to when it is raw. I'll get our steaming hot bao buns on our plate. Put in our squash, top with our sauce and kimchi mixture. You guessed it, it's that time again. I get to try it. My favorite part of the process, of course. How can you blame me? You got a nice flavor combination, that sour, that sweet, the salty. Really nice. This recipe is very simple. It may seem a little unusual for some of you, but trust me, it's very good. I recommend trying it. It certainly doesn't take very long to prepare, which is a bonus. I personally love the bao buns. Nice and puffy. So remember, if you like this video in any way, shape, or form, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to my channel. There's going to be a new video every Monday to keep things interesting in your kitchen. Thank you for all of your support. Feel free to leave a comment below or a question. I'll be happy to get back to you. Bon appetit!